started.
So now that the Super Bowl has been over for about like 2-3 weeks, I think recency bias kind of take that out the window. With that being said, who are your guys' top 5 quarterbacks going into the next season?
We'll start with Aaron.
I gotta go first.
Yeah, you gotta go first.
All right, so I'll list my honorable mentions first. So I got the what if man, Justin Herbert, and I got that killer CJ Stroud.
There's no way he thinks CJ Stroud is an honorable mention.
I would say going into last year he was. After this year, no, I don't think so.
I felt he was dealt a bad hand like the what if man always is.
All right.
Like, I'm being serious.
All right, what's number 5?
Jalen Hurts. I think he proved it in the Super Bowl that he can get it done. And, you know, they have a steady offense to where he doesn't have to be a superhero to win them games. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what this guy, the GOAT, did for all those years. It's what my number 4 pick currently does. And, you know, Hurts, he's impressive. I was a big Jalen Hurts hater, and maybe I am feeling the bias, but I will give the Eagles a year of grace. So Jalen Hurts, welcome to the Aaron of Bad Takes top 5.
All right, so my number 5 is also Jalen Hurts. He's one of the only quarterbacks that's won a Super Bowl recently.
Guys.
Oh my god. But no, he's one of the only quarterbacks that's won a Super Bowl recently other than Patrick Mahomes. And he's one of the only quarterbacks that has went out there and beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl other than Tom Brady. So he has to be up there. I don't know. There's like, you can't say that Justin Herbert, the guy who hasn't won anything, a meaningful game in his life, can go out there and be in that top 5 more deservingly than Jalen Hurts. Like, and we've seen in the Super Bowl, he can do it with his legs, he can do it with his arms. Yeah. Sure, for a lot of the season, like, I was kind of hating on him that honestly, like, their passing game wasn't working, but they didn't really need it to. They had Saquon, but I just don't think you can kind of hold his team being good around him against him too much. And he just went out there and beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So he's great. Number 5.
I don't know how you guys have him at 5. I'm not going to say where he's at on my list, but he's not number 5. My number 5 is Lamar.
That's kind of crazy.
It's insane.
I think I have Lamar at 5.
Dude, I was expecting Lamar to be like your number 2.
I love Lamar. I think Lamar is great, but I think after this season and just kind of like history repeating itself in the playoffs and the regular season is great, all those things are perfect, but when it comes down to it, the other guys on my list, I'd rather have them when it comes down to needing to go win a game. So I put Lamar at 5. I think he's MVP. I think he should have won MVP this year.
Probably.
I mean, I think just because his stats were similar to last year, you shouldn't fault him. Like, he's a dog. Like, he's able to be a dual threat. He can score any time, unless it's the playoffs. But, I mean, nah. Jalen Hurts is not number 5. At least to me. I have him ahead of 2 other guys.
I don't feel so crazy now about making Patrick Mahomes my number 4 quarterback.
There's no way you think Mahomes.
Okay, let me explain myself.
Now, these are some bad takes.
Here I come. Explain myself. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar. Spoiler alert. It's obviously those 3. You don't know the order yet. They have been... Okay, so Burrow got hurt, 2 years ago, since last year was last year. But those guys, I feel like, are so much better at what they have around them in terms of elevating. And, Lamar has won 2 MVPs already. Josh Allen won an MVP. Joe Burrow would have won an MVP if the Bengals somehow snuck into the playoffs, which means Allen would have won MVP. But I just feel like Mahomes he does everything right. And I guess my references is, yes, Mahomes is absolutely incredible. But let's look at Brady when the Patriots were on their the second dynasty Super Bowl run, or even the first one. You could argue that Peyton Manning was the best quarterback at the time, and you could argue Aaron Rodgers was the best quarterback at the time. You can argue they were more talented. I'm not gonna lie, Aaron Rodgers is more talented than Tom Brady was, and I can't believe I just said that, but it's true. I think Lamar and Allen are for sure more talented than Patrick Mahomes is, and I think Joe Burrow is just in general a better passer. Now, I get it. Patrick has won 2 MVPs. He's won 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, and I'm sure this isn't going to be the end. But I think as of right now, I rather have one of those 3 if I just like created a brand new franchise and there was an expansion draft where you could draft any player, I would take one of those three. And I believe those three are all younger. Not that that really matters because their ages are also tightly knit. But I just genuinely believe that those three are better. Those two, my bad. Those three, they just leave my jaw drops when I watch them on Sundays. Patrick doesn't do that anymore.
Bro, every week he makes some crazy ass play that makes me go like, what?
Dude, Chief
every
fans-
single time.
Chief fans are so down bad, dude. They're like on Twitter talking about like preseason highlights when he's like throwing it behind his back.
But all right. We'll move past that take to my number 4, and it's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, I love Joe Burrow to death. And I think it's honestly, I think he's at number 4 low key because of recency. He just hasn't, I mean, he's been great this year, but it's not, or I guess this last season, he hasn't really, he's honestly, he's on a bad team. That's what it is right now.
Do? Play defense too?
No, I understand that. He's on a bad team, but we haven't seen him win meaningful games in the last couple of years, and that's the thing. Like Josh Allen and Lamar, they've been playing in big games recently, and it's just that Joe Burrow and his team kind of took a step back, right? Like I don't think his play has taken a step back. It's just because he's not in the forefront of the conversation right now because of the other team's success. Like the Ravens' success, the Bills' success, and the Chiefs' success, obviously. I don't think he's bad at all. I love Burrow. I love him to death. He is the only quarterback that I honest to God think Patrick Mahomes is kind of scared of a little bit. Like he goes out there and he slings it against the Chiefs and he's beat them a couple times and he looks really, really good every single time he plays pretty much. So I don't think it's necessarily his fault that he's kind of fallen back in my rankings. I think it's just more that the recency of his team not being very relevant has kind of pulled him back a little bit. And like I said, it's not really his fault. And I know you guys are probably going to hate on me for that, but that's why he's number 4.
My list is drastically different.
The what if man Joe Burrow.
Yeah, so that's kind of what it is.
There's no way we're going to call him a what if.
He's not because he actually got to the chip.
Yeah.
So you got Burrow at 4?
Yeah.
That's insane. My number 4 is Josh Allen. I have Josh Allen at 4.
You have Jalen Hurts at 3. That's insane over those two.
I mean, when it comes down to it, who's winning big games and moving on and going to Super Bowls and winning them? That's one thing. Like, I think Josh Allen's great. I love Josh Allen. Fool's like 2 hours away from where we live.
Yeah.
Fireball, whatever it is. But I think Josh Allen's story is great. I think Josh Allen
doxed us.
What?
Doxed us.
You just
We're gonna get
doxed
swatted.
No one.
Bro's gonna say no one watches this. Anyways, we'll go to my number 3.
No, I'm not done. So, I think Josh Allen is like definitely a quarterback that can easily be 1 through 4. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think if you were starting a franchise and you took Josh Allen, it's not a bad decision. I just think when it comes down to things like being clutch and winning games late and not turning the ball over and ultimately winning big games, Josh Allen and the Bills haven't done it. Maybe it's a Bills curse because they can't win in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl.
I think it's more Sean McDermott than him, to be honest.
I would agree.
I mean, I think they got a little waxed against the Chiefs. Like, I definitely think he picked up the first down twice and they didn't get the call.
Definitely did.
But I think ultimately you just kind of look back and what kind of happens. It's not really always his fault, but he doesn't win. He hasn't been to the Super Bowl. They're not winning big games all the time. I mean, they beat the Chiefs once. That was cool. His run and getting Buffalo was dope, but
I mean, they beat like Kansas City every year in the regular season. They just can't beat them in the playoffs.
yeah. Well, that's
But that it's meaningless.
that's when it matters is in the playoffs.
That's pretty much the whole
our
league,
guys.
though.
Yeah, our guy's gonna win. Like, who are you gonna take to go beat Mahomes or go beat the juggernaut of the NFL? I don't think it's Josh Allen.
So my number 3 is Joe Burrow. And obviously he could potentially be higher on this list, but injuries have held him back. But this year we got him fully healthy and he absolutely killed it. I think honestly he was the best quarterback this year and his team sucked around him, which is why he didn't get no MVP votes, really, why they missed the playoffs. And don't get me wrong, I think him and Jamar Chase did a little stat padding there a couple times when they were losing big.
You weren't hating on it though.
Oh, hell no, I wasn't hating on it. But, I mean, there's not much to say. Burrow's, his tape just shows it, man. His tape just shows it. So, who's your number 3, Blake?
My number 3 is Lamar Jackson. I love Lamar. He just doesn't win big games. That's his thing. Like, he just does not win big games. He wins 14, 13 games in the regular season. Looks like a regular season MVP. Playoffs comes, and he's just a completely different player, sadly.
I don't think this year was his fault. I mean, Buffalo was kind of tough, but Mark Andrews dropping the ball was...
No, they probably should have won that game, to be honest. But the Ravens in general and Lamar just haven't had a really good playoff success. So that's the main reason he's at number 3. Lamar in the regular season is obviously like insanely good. He probably should have won 3 MVPs in a row these last 3 years. And I don't really have much else to say. Obviously, he's a dual threat quarterback, really, really fast. Throws a really nice deep ball too. So he just doesn't really have that kind of like it factor in the playoffs for whatever reason.
He's a regular season merchant.
He
It's
is.
crazy. I think for number 3, I think Jalen Hurts. What's so funny?
Just insane.
Dude, there's nothing insane about it. Jalen Hurts has done what no other quarterback's been able to do in the past 3 years. He like defeated the dynasty, if you want to call him that. But overall, Jalen Hurts' game is he's gotten better every year. Week in week, he gets better. What are you laughing at? What is so
I just
funny?
can't believe it. Like,
He's at my 5 because I think they won that game because of their defense, not because of Jalen Hurts.
They put 40 on him.
I think Jalen Hurts was really good. Like, don't get me wrong, but they got 14 of those points from the defense.
They got 7.
They
had
got
a pick
7,
six.
and then they got a pick at like the 4-yard line.
Oh, so you're just gonna blame somebody for where they get the ball?
No, I'm not.
And then when Jalen Hurts
Oh my-
played the Chiefs last time, he put 35 on him.
No,
I think he would have beat him again.
Bro,
and
he's
then there
still-
was a flag.
he's still my number 5. I'm not hating on the guy. Like, he still beat him.
I think it's fair to put him over guys that aren't winning big games.
No, like I think it is fair, but at the same time, like, you have to take into account his regular season too, and not just playoffs. Because
He's fine in the regular season.
his regular season sucked.
He got hurt. He missed a couple games.
I
He had a
mean,
concussion.
sure, but like
sorry, I was responsible for that.
you had AJ Brown complaining about him halfway through the season.
AJ Brown complained after he won the Super Bowl. That's
All
just who he is.
Their passing
Future
game was
Patriot.
just their passing game wasn't it all year, and like he's still my top 5. I think he's still a great quarterback, and I would, most teams are going to take him. Obviously, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but I just don't think you can say he's better than Josh Allen and I forgot who you put
Lamar?
at 5 and Lamar.
I think
But
he can. I think he went in to Baltimore this year and won. He went in there into Lamar's house and won.
Whose house?
I got almost in a fight for saying that in LA.
Great story.
But I think overall, you just look at what Jalen Hurts has done throughout his career, especially going into the year, because this is going into 2025. So when you put all those things in together, the fact that he just won the Super Bowl, he's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, multiple NFC championships. The Eagles were like not looking too hot after that whole Nick Foles, Carson Wentz thing. Jalen Hurts came in. Obviously, they're great now. They're favored to repeat. You mean somebody they're going to repeat with any other quarterback? They put Kenny Pickett in there? They're going to repeat?
No, I'm not. He's still a top 5 for me. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think him above Lamar and Josh Allen's kind of nuts.
I don't think it is, because when it comes down to beating Patrick Mahomes, who's done it?
All right, well, let's move on.
I got nothing to
I can
say.
keep going.
I'm sure you can.
Shout out Sal.
So my number 2, I'm sure these two are like, oh, which one is he going to make 2? Which one's he going to make 1? Well, I'm going to surprise you guys. I say Josh Allen's number 2 because I'll get into a long rant about why I love Lamar and why I had this change of heart about 15 minutes ago. But Josh is awesome. He does everything right. The biggest thing he corrected this season was the turnover issue, because it was like a meme to take his under on interceptions like the last 2 years
Over.
No, it was under, because they'd be so high. It'd be like 14.5 or 15.5. It'd be crazy high. Maybe not that high, like 12, but you're like, oh, Josh Allen's not going to throw 13 picks this year. And then he throws like 12. But, he corrected the turnover issue. He doesn't play, superhero as much. He had to do it a couple times this year. Obviously he did it there against the Chiefs in the regular season. But all in all, I think he just really has perfected his game to where I'm sure he can somehow still get better. But ultimately, I think this current version of him is obviously good enough to win a Super Bowl. The team around him is the issue. And it's a little crazy to say that because I would argue that the Bills receiving core is probably better than the Chiefs receiving core. Hell, you could probably even argue it's better than the Ravens receiving core when Zay Flowers was hurt. When Zay Flowers was hurt.
When Zay Flowers was hurt.
When Zay Flowers was hurt, obviously. But I just think Allen, he's just a superstar. He's honest. It's honestly 1B and 1A for him and Lamar for me because I think they're just both on the exact same level. But if I had to put one over the other, I would say that I prefer Lamar over Allen because I think Lamar stealing is still, we still may not have seen his ceiling because we have seen Josh Allen play perfect in the playoffs. Obviously, when they lost, to the Chiefs, the 13-second game, however long it was. Allen was about as good as anyone has ever been in a playoff game. Unfortunately, they lost, though. And then Crichton got the OT rules changed. And Lamar, as we've all kind of said so far, we haven't seen Lamar have that peak playoff performance where it's like, that's the Lamar we watch every single Sunday. He's always been a little underwhelming. But neither of them have obviously made it out of the conference championship. That to me doesn't matter as much because that has a lot to do with the team around them as well. I mean, they have made mistakes that have cost their teams, but I got Allen at 2, and I just think it's because Lamar's ceiling is just a tad bit higher than Josh Allen's.
So Josh Allen is also my number 2.
Holy shit, we agree on something.
Yeah. No, we said Jalen Hurts at 5 too.
Yeah.
But no, Josh Allen's at my number 2. He fixed those turnover issues he's had. You kind of took a lot of my points, to be honest. Yeah, he corrected all those issues, and he's like, when you watch him play, he just plays exciting football. Like he's
a football player.
Yeah,
man.
he's a really, really fun player to watch. Like that, it hates me to say it, but dude, like watching him against the Niners, like just
worst day of my life.
It was a terrible play, but it was a terrible game for the Niners. But just watching like him play football is just, you still kind of have to respect it. You know what I mean? Like him getting wrapped up, the Niners aren't taking him down to the ground for some reason, and he does this little, he's calling for the ball, gets a little pitch back, runs in, dives. Was the first player or whatever to technically receive, throw, and run a touchdown in one game or something like that. He's just a super fun football player to watch, dude. And like his just pure talent is just kind of crazy to watch. Like he has a cannon for an arm. He can run. He powers over people. Like he's a really, really fun player to watch. And then that only leaves one more player for my first. And I won't talk about it right now. I'll let you talk about your number 2. But yeah.
I think my number 2, I think it's pretty easy. It's going to be Joe Burrow. Dude, why are you hating on my list so much?
I didn't think you were going in that direction. I thought they were gonna be interchangeable.
Interchangeable? No. I have Joe Burrow at 2. I think when Joe Burrow is healthy, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. When the Bengals are on and Joe Burrow is healthy and there's no injuries, there's no lingering pain, that man's a demon. It just seems like what his problem's been the last couple years, even when he got into the NFL, he seems to get hurt. Maybe it's his own line play, but I think just saw what he did last year. He was that team was scary going like offensively. Like they could score 40 on anyone. It was their defense that just held them back all year. If their defense played better in like 3 games, we're probably talking about a different Super Bowl matchup. Because he is the Mahomes like killer. Like he is that guy that beats him every time.
I was really hoping they were going to get into the playoffs, to be honest, because I did not want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. And I was telling everybody, I'm like, dude, if the Bengals can get in there, I think they're going to surprise the Chiefs if they can come across them in the playoffs.
I think Joe Burrow could have easily been an MVP this year if his team was better. I think like when you look at the other candidates and like the success their teams had, how could you not go with them? Like how are you going to give the MVP to a guy who didn't make the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, like when Joe Burrow's on and the team around him is like mediocre, like from top to bottom, they can beat anyone. They can go into Arrowhead, they can go into Philadelphia, they can go to Baltimore. They can go to any of these stadiums and they can go and win. They can hang 40 on you. The problem with the Bengals is that they get 40 hung on them too. And then obviously last year he got hurt. Like it was kind of a streaky start, and then he got hurt, and then he was lingering, and then he got hurt again. Obviously he tore his ACL early in his career, but even he came back, and then they went to Super Bowl. So I think there's little pieces around the Bengals that are missing. But I think when Joe Burrow is on and Joe Burrow is healthy, there's not a quarterback that he can't go out there and duel with.
I mean, he beat prime Trevor Lawrence at Clemson like it was nothing.
Yeah, for anyone that watches college ball.
That team was insane. That LSU team's probably like the greatest college football team of all time. Different story though. All right, my number one, it's Lamar. He is the most amazing player I've watched in person.
Watching Lamar in person it's insane.
I'm like getting chills thinking about it. No, like I just love football. I just love it. Lamar. I made Derek sit there and watch the Ravens kick their ass on Christmas night.
Yeah, I was trying to go home, bro. We went to that Niners and Ravens like Christmas game, and like the fourth quarter, I'm like, dude, can we leave? He's like, no. I'm just like sitting there just watching.
We're witnessing greatness.
I'm like, dude, I'm ready to go. Like, this game's over. I'm done.
It's funny because back to that game when I like got up to remember go to the concessions, that's when the like game just got flipped on its head. That's when Baltimore started like taking control.
Pouring it on him, yeah.
Should never got up.
No, I shouldn't.
This is your fault.
Anyways.
But Lamar, I don't know what to say about him besides he's incredible.
Why does every time we record, there's an ambulance?
They're coming to arrest you for your shit takes.
Bro, it's every time.
The mics probably didn't pick it up. But Lamar is just, I'm speechless, man. It's like Lamar. He just goes out there and does incredible things. He's just like
jukes. Sounds like Tony Romo right now. I don't know.
That sounds like Nick Wright talking about Patrick Mahomes.
He's a Lamar, man. He just goes out there and. How can you not love watching him play? He's probably him and Josh Allen are the two most entertaining quarterbacks to watch. Or Joe Burrow when he's in a game that he has to win to make the playoffs. But he's won 2 MVPs. He probably should have won MVP this year, like you said earlier. And he's probably going to be the MVP favorite going into next year. I don't say about he's Lamar, man. He's incredible. And I'm mad that he's not Tom Brady's successor. It's kind of depressing. Instead, it was Mac Jones, but
all right.
It's Lamar, man.
All right, so my number one, I'm the biggest hater of this guy. I hate his guts, but
it's Brock Purdy, chat.
It's Patrick Mahomes. I feel like you can argue like sure like other quarterbacks played better than him in this last year, but like what other quarterback has won 3 Super Bowls that's still active? None. Like there's no player that you go out there and everybody's trying to beat this guy. Everybody's like every single year people are starting, how do we beat the Chiefs? Because they're expecting them to win the Super Bowl again. Like I know this year obviously didn't pan out that way, but every single year people are gunning towards this guy, basically. Like there's no other quarterback, there's no other player in the league that people fear more than this guy, which is just kind of crazy to me. And I hate him so much, bro. I hate this guy so much. And I'm his biggest hater, but you just got to respect it, dude. Like you got to respect it. I think he's a crybaby bitch, but dude, that guy can play fucking football, dude. That guy knows what he's doing.
Fucking Kermit.
Like, and there's obviously nothing to say about him that hasn't been said. Like it's just kind of crazy how good he is at football. And I'm so surprised that I'm the only person with him at number one. I thought Derek for sure was either going to have Lamar or Mahomes. Like this guy's the biggest Mahomes glazer out of anybody that I know.
I didn't finish my list. My list isn't done.
Whatever. But anyways,
keep talking shit. Go ahead.
Anyways, this guy owns a Mahomes jersey. And he went and bought a jersey, went and saw him play in person.
I went to Kansas State and I watched him play.
And like, it's just, I think there's no other player that like you can really stack up against him, honestly. Like everybody in the AFC is trying to beat this guy. And 99% of them haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, I got Mahomes at 1 if it wasn't obvious, according to
I
this guy over here.
honestly thought you already said it.
No, Mahomes is number 1. Honestly, I think him and Joe Burrow are like very interchangeable. Like if someone said, "Oh, I take Joe Burrow over Mahomes," I wouldn't be like mad. But I think in terms of like success and just like overall like winning, 'cause I think winning is the biggest part. Is why people love Mahomes and what he does, how he's clutch. He doesn't like dude be down 24-0, doesn't blink.
Yeah. No.
Like does not matter. Like that team, they can be down 10, 6 minutes left.
That's why it surprised me so much
But-
in the Super Bowl, like how
Yeah,
that
like
team
people didn't
had
think
no
that
fight.
people didn't think that game was over. Like it was like
No.
20. It was like 24-0, and we're all looking at each other like,
Yeah.
Mahomes probably gonna come back somehow. That's what he does.
We all expected it.
So
Yeah.
obviously they didn't, and like I'm glad they didn't. But I think it's very. I mean, he did have a down year in towards like QB stats. Like I think it was kind of a rough year. I really think losing Rice was really like the kicker for them. When
Yeah.
like it was just Kelsey, and then it was Xavier Worthy.
Also,
and then, like,
Kelsey hasn't been
yeah,
himself
Kelsey had a
either.
down year. Like overall, the Chiefs' offense had a really down year. So like I don't really
Nagy
put
effect.
I don't really put like too much of like that on Mahomes. I think Mahomes was great. I mean, I know the Super Bowl losses he were in were pretty bad. They got demolished twice. I don't think the Tampa one was really his fault. I think playing with backups on the offensive line, Tampa
Yeah.
kind of knew what to do. Philadelphia, I think they just got punched in the mouth, didn't know how to recover. It happens. Brady lost Super Bowls. Doesn't mean he's not the GOAT. I mean, he lost to Eli Manning and Nick Foles.
That's
But-
insane.
but
he
he's
lost
still
Eli
like-
twice.
Yeah, but he's still the greatest quarterback ever. So, I mean,
Eli?
Mahomes losing Super Bowl doesn't really change like my bias. Like I still think that he's the best quarterback. I think if I was starting a franchise today, I would still take Mahomes.
Yeah, I think you're dumb if you don't.
I think his playmaking ability is easily the best at all the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like he only runs when he needs to, which it makes me so mad when he runs, bro.
Oh,
Because
his
like
running,
makes me
yeah.
so
like his little jog just like annoys me.
Or
But-
I hate after the play when he gets
Or like
up and
this,
he
he does
does
it-
this
goes like
little this little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just like his like huddle up. But no, Mahomes like he's just so creative. Like he's literally getting sacked, and he'll flick that thing back of his head. Like he did the whole like diving, throwing the ball. And he like threw it to the end zone, like
Yeah,
falling
and
down.
they were down like when that happened. By the way, they were down 3 scores.
Yeah, they
in the
were-
fourth quarter of the game, and he's still out there fucking trying his heart out. You know what I mean?
Joe Burrow better at it.
So I think, yeah, shut up. I just think overall, like if you look at like what Mahomes like brings to the table in terms of like creativity, he's also just super fun to watch. As long as you're not hate watching him, like
Yeah, but every time I watch the Chiefs, it's a hate.
oh yeah,
watch.
it's a hate watch every
I've
time.
never
It's so hard not to hate
watched
him.
him.
I only like Mahomes on the Chiefs. There's nobody else. I mean, Andy Reid's cool, but like anyone else on the Chiefs, like I don't like. But
I hate his guts, honestly, just because what has happened with him in the Niners.
yeah,
Like he's been what's holding us back. Like,
Kyle Shanahan's what holds them back.
yeah, but I mean, if the Niners played any team other than the Chiefs, those last 2 Super Bowls, we would have won.
Probably they played like
It's
Burrow
just-
or somebody else. They probably
We
would've
played Patrick Mahomes.
won. I don't know if they got Lamar. Lamar might have beat them.
I don't know. It's just we played Patrick Mahomes. We played the greatest quarterback since Tom Brady, and he might retire as the GOAT. You know what I mean? I don't think he is right now, but there's a
We
huge
can open
chance.
up the GOAT debate.
There's a huge. That's for another episode. We can talk about the GOAT debate, but he has a huge chance of retiring as the greatest player ever, basically.
Yeah, I think what Mahomes has done, like in his early career, like at his age, he's won multiple Super Bowls. He almost did a three-peat. Obviously didn't pan out, but just since he came into the league, he has taken the league over.
As soon
Since
as
he
it is,
stepped in,
Yep.
AFC championships.
it was immediate.
immediate, winning the divisions, Super Bowl appearances. They're there. The Chiefs are like the team, you know, like they're the new dynasty. And it wouldn't be without like Mahomes. Obviously, the rest of the team they do great, but what Mahomes brings, no other quarterback really like brings that.
Mhm.
I think overall he's just really clutch too. I think
Yeah.
he is the most. I think if I needed somebody to go throw a touchdown in the fourth quarter, like I'm like you have to score right here.
He's the only quarterback I think out of anybody in the league. Like if he has the ball down 1 score in the last 2 minutes of the game, he's gonna win.
Yeah, he's gonna go out there and he's gonna do it.
Like you expect, like in the Super Bowl when we gave the ball back to the Chiefs, like
I knew
in
it.
overtime,
Yeah,
I knew
I
it
knew-
was
I knew
over
that game
as
was
soon
over.
as
Yeah,
they
we
got
all
the
did.
ball. Like the
Yeah,
game
you
was
just look,
over.
You just look at me. Yeah, I know that game's over.
Yeah,
But yeah, I have Mahomes obviously at 1. I think he can be interchangeable with Burrow, but I think Mahomes top guy in the NFL right now.
all right. So I guess that kind of does it for a little quarterback debate. Keep a lookout for some more debates coming on the channel in the future, and make sure to like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and enjoy the rest of your day.